Welcome to the Brains Are Us podcast, brought to you by Centerpoint Research Institute. Each week, we explore the tools, insights, and breakthroughs that help you unlock your full potential. Whether it's mind-expanding research, powerful personal development strategies, or transformative stories, you're in the right place to upgrade your brain and your life. Today's episode features husband and wife healing guides Sabrina and Tristan Truscott, co-founders of the Satori Method. Join MaryEllen, Sabrina, and Tristan as they share their powerful journey from physical breakdown and emotional struggle to discovering the body's natural ability to heal itself. Together, they explore the energy of unconditional love, the wisdom of Qigong, and how aligning body, mind, and spirit can transform pain into purpose. This is an uplifting and deeply inspiring conversation you're going to love. Now here's your host, Centerpoint CEO, MaryEllen Tribby.
All right. Hello and welcome, Tristan and Sabrina. How are you?
We are really happy to be here. It's always amazing to spend time with you. Thanks for having us on the show.
Well, I couldn't wait to start talking to you guys. Mostly, I think it'd be really interesting to go through your story, Tristan. When your body broke down in that dojo, did you ever imagine that moment would become the gateway to a whole new life?
Oh my gosh. I'm sure many folks listening to this have been through those dark night of the soul moments. I didn't know it was going to become one of those. So when that happened in the dojo, being on the floor, not being able to get up after teaching some self-defense movements to some women who I was training, and I've been doing martial arts for many years up until that point, at least 20, then my body had taken a beating over the years of fighting. I thought I could just get right back up like I always did, but this particular night, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get back to my feet. So they carried me out of my school, out of my dojo. And for the next 2 months, I was completely bedridden, meaning I could barely move. So did I forecast? No way, not in the middle of that dark night. And it went on for almost 5 years. So what's birth is crazy.
That is unbelievable. And frankly, I remember us talking about this when we just met. We were in California at the winery having lunch. And that's why I needed to have you both here today, because Sabrina, what was it like for you being that anchor during Tristan's darkest moments? I mean, 5 years, how did that shape your own healing path?
Well, I went through so many phases over 5 years. So I went through, oh, isn't this great? I'm getting to take care of the person I love. Almost like when you get a new puppy and you're like, oh, I get to take care. And then it was like, you could start feeling like, get up and get it yourself. Right.
Yeah,
And that happened.
Yeah.
And going through wanting my strong, handsome prince to open the door for me and him to take the garbage out. And I'm doing everything. If we could have gone somewhere, I would have carried the suitcases and pushed a wheelchair. So all of those fantasies were going away. And then dealing with when someone's in that much pain, they need to get rid of the energy. And sometimes that's through barking, getting irritated and frustrated, and you can't take it personally. But what I really find is that for me, it's always been easier for me to be patient and kind with someone else, more so than it has been with myself. And I think from being side by side with Tristan on this journey together, I did stay patient and kind and didn't take things personally. We didn't make his back, although it was injured, like a bad back. We tried to keep framing it as a back that is improving.
Yeah.
And so then I could take all that I learned and be like, wait, maybe I should love myself and be that kind and patient towards this person, which I hadn't been that kind to myself before.
That's awesome. And I know you both talk a lot about energy of unconditional love. And what does that actually feel like? And how does someone begin to connect with that?
Unconditional love has been a beautiful thing that I've been seeking in my life since when we first met in our early 20s. We were in a meditation community and we were looking for love. remember reading Louise Hay's book about the power of love and healing, because during my life journey, I've had a lot of broken things that needed healing from all the fighting. And so I first heard that love could be a power. And then as I unpacked that love is an experience that you can have. To be unconditionally in love feels like you are remembering your original blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
As individuals, as souls, we come from something very beautiful, very vast, very divine. And I once heard the teacher, Paramahansa Yogananda, who some may have heard, he talked about the human journey of love. And humans can experience a lot of love, emotional love, human love, but divine love is that love that has no more conditions. And so I've always wanted to be able to tap into that. And so that's what it means for me.
What it doesn't mean, that I think gets confused. See, there's unconditional love, and then there's unconditional like. And that's very different.
Yeah.
So like a mother towards a child is probably the most common unconditional love that people may experience. Their child may make decisions that they don't approve of, marry someone they don't like, disown them, do bad things, and they're disappointed, or maybe they just don't get along. But there's something in there that's like, but I just love them because they're a part of me. So when we talk about unconditional love and we use each other as an excuse to love the divine. So that's why the unconditional love is here. But unconditional love doesn't determine the actions and the choices that you make and who to be around and what you do with your time. For me, it's a vibrational frequency that I can live in, like a state of consciousness where there is no room for anything but love. Therefore, it is unconditional.
Wow. That is so beautiful. And, I've heard you say that pain isn't just physical. How did your journey through, I know you were that perfectionist, and emotional pain open you to self-love?
I think perfectionism was my coping mechanism. If I achieve enough and do enough, if I'm smart enough and pretty enough and at the top of the class enough, then I'm worthy of love, right? You become worthy of love. It isn't, you're absolutely not just worthy of love for no reason at all, because you exist. And it's exhausting. And with the eating disorders and just feeling like you can never rest. You always have to attain the next thing or you're going to lose the love, the imaginary love that you think you have. And then what's funny is all of these people love you because you're great at doing stuff, but there's just as many who despise you because you're good at it.
Yeah. Yes.
And I think that really fueled me, because when we met, the way that I made money was I was a television actress, a working actress. And so I was playing a lot of different characters and I was very good at it and I loved it. It was a complete escape from being me. I could be really funny. I could be really trashy. I could be really mean. I could be all the things that maybe I didn't let myself be in this character of Sabrina. And that question, like, I'm getting better and better at acting, but who am I if I'm not playing a role? And who am I as a soul in connection to consciousness? Because I was raised a Christian and then I studied Buddhism and then I was studying Hinduism, but also who do I choose to be? What are the traits and characteristics that I want to embody and step into? And started seeing it as a choice. I actually can choose who I am and what I stand for, and that I am worthy of love for no reason at all. And from that place, I can do good stuff and I can be good at things, but it has nothing to do with who I am.
That's great. That is so important for so many people, because people think they have to be good at something in order to be loved. And, as a mother, as somebody who leads teams, you have to be so cognizant of that you're, not, unconsciously putting that out there to others that you do love, So that is really powerful. And you guys, you talk so much about healing, and we're really going to get into some of the energy healing. But Do you think so many people think healing comes from the outside? But I've seen that your work teaches us that the body can be its own medicine. Can you share what that discovery was like for you?
Sure, happy to. This is our life's work at this point. Didn't know this was going to be the path we were on. Dancer, martial artist, growing businesses, etc. The healing journey has been a beautiful epiphany that you kind of framed it out perfectly. Like, where does healing really come from? Does it come from outside or does it come from within? And maybe it's a merger of those two, because we need support for healing. We have great doctors on the planet who keep us alive. We have longevity arts. We have biohacking, all these incredible resources that we can put in and on the body. So not to discount or discredit them at all, but at the same time, when people are in chronic pain or psychosomatic pain, meaning mind body, and therefore there's a physical manifestation of an illness or a dis-ease, we also need to look inside. And so what we find, as I think most people listening to a conversation like this, is it's an inside job. I have to change my thoughts. Thoughts affect my organs. They affect my chemistry, but also they affect our energy. We think of energy as information that's vibrating in a certain way. It's either vibrating in a healthy way or a negative way. And so if we can align ourselves to the natural healthy flow of our life force energy, using all the external tools, but as well as the internal tools, now we have a winning equation. So that's how I would frame it. And healing as an energy art, any good healer will tell you, I don't do the healing. I'm a conduit. I'm a facilitator for your body to heal itself. The power of the placebo. That's what's so empowering for people to realize, especially if they've been in chronic pain for a long time, or they're looking for support outside themselves and they're not getting it, that you now find, wait a minute, I have a power that I could activate. That's incredibly life transforming.
That is so interesting. And I always thought that what you do, your Satori method, is so unique. So I'd love for you to really explain what it is, how it combines that mind, body, and energy work in a practical, accessible way for our listeners.
Sounds great.
You do. You love talking about this. I don't want to take out.
I'll give you the quick 411 of a martial artist. We all know Bruce Lee. So Bruce Lee is one of the world's greatest martial artists that's ever walked the planet. And what he was, in my opinion, was the very first mixed martial artist. So many of us have heard of MMA. It's very much all the rage over the last 20 years. What he did in his style of martial arts, he created a quadrant. And within that quadrant, he knew he needed 4 things to become a balanced martial artist. And you'll see the segue in a moment. So he knew that he needed to know how to punch. He needed to know how to kick. We call that kickboxing today. He knew that he needed to know what to do on the ground, grappling. And he needed to know what to do when you're in really, really close with somebody, called close quarters. And when I studied that, I thought, wow, what a beautiful way to mix, just like we do with business. We find the best of the best and we bring things together. Well, it's the same thing with healing arts. There's all these incredible things for the mind. There's these incredible things for the body. And some will say there's incredible things from the soul. And then we started unpacking healing. And most people in the personal development industry talk about physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, which is beautiful. It's a great framework. We've used it for years. But Sabrina and I, with our background in meditation, we always felt that spiritual couldn't be one of 4, that the mind and the body, in a way, have come from spirit. And so when you study this thing called the yin and the yang, which represents the balance of opposites, they say that before this symbol is created, there's just a circle which represents oneness. And as this undifferentiated energy, before it becomes animated, it is just pure source, the divine. You could call it emptiness, the void, you could call it oneness. And when you're in that type of energy, the body naturally heals. And so we look at it as the mind and the body are whole. And when they become separate is when we start having issues. So we try to bring the body and the mind back together into oneness. So we call it body, mind aligned. And as we were unpacking the healing journey, we know, like everyone here, that we have 2 minds. We all know we're using our conscious cognitive thinking mind right now. We're processing data, etc. But we all know the power of the subconscious mind, especially with your work. You guys are masters of this, reprogramming those deeper seated emotions, and the power of the subconscious is everything. And we all know that we have a physical body. It's obvious. We look in the mirror, there it is. but not everybody knows they have an energy body. And I think in personal development, when it really took off all those years ago, thanks to the great ones, the Earl Nightingales and the Conants and all those guys, and Bill himself, these guys were birthing a path of like, hey, we got to get out of just the thinking mind, and we got to start really working on the deeper mind. Well, I think that's happening on the planet right now with the body. We're not looking just at the physical body anymore. We're looking at the energy body as well. And so that's really Satori Method, is those four things come together, the two bodies and the two minds. And when we bring everything back into alignment, we find that we have a really great equation for healing and manifestation, because we're multidimensional beings. So we can't just work on the body or just work on the mind or just work on the energy. It's the fusion. So that's what Satori Method does in a framework. Then it's applied to healing, relationships, having a great time in your life, manifesting all your dreams. Yeah. So that's how we use it.
You know, I love, one, that you mentioned Bill, thank you. And two, that you so appreciate the work that was done before, and that because we're ever evolving and science is evolving, that you're able to take these works and just keep going further and further. And I think that's an incredible thing for any of us in this, in this niche, in this personal development kind of arena. And full disclosure, I know these guys really well, but you mentioned that you eat your own cooking. So I want to talk about, what does your daily practice look like, and how has it evolved over the years?
Well, we love that saying, we eat our own cooking. It kind of, originally we would say it around the house sarcastically, because like maybe someone's selling bone broth, but they're really a closet vegetarian. And it's like, or someone's teaching how to grow a business, but they've never had one.
Yeah.
Right. Where it's like, well, yes, that can work, but we are so blessed because we get to eat our own cooking, meaning follow through with our practices, because one of our programs is a continuity program where we live stream 4 classes a week that we teach. And so it's Qigong and meditation. There's joint mobility. There's classes for increasing bone density, muscle mass. So I feel like I don't have to go and do my practice, because I get to do it as a teacher teaching what I love. But the small things that we love as a couple, eating our meals of cooking together, is we always spend the mornings together. We don't like get up separately. We get up together and we go outside together. And we have a little walk and we set our intentions for the day, and then we may go on our way. And then at the end of the evening, we also close down the day together. We always go to the bedroom together, and there's gratitude and there's appreciation, and everything is inside this bubble of, what is the highest, most kind, conscious action I can take today? Reflecting back on the excitement of the choices we made, or, where maybe next time I might do this, and being each other's support. Every day we move our bodies in some way. We physically move our body and spend that time in appreciation. So prayer, I would say praying, but that's so misunderstood as, for me, I'm asking something outside of myself for something. And I love what, I should give somebody credit here, and maybe you'll know who it is. They say, you don't pray for something, you pray as something. So moving into the frequency of that love with appreciation. And if there is a prayer, the prayer is, let me become this expansion of myself. And I think just supporting each other in that. But when Tristan mentioned physical body, energy body, conscious mind, subconscious mind, and that heart center, we connect that through like an infinity sign, and that is the energy engine. So that is the center point of everything that we do. And if that energy engine is flowing and beautiful and balanced, all the areas of your life go up. Where in the past, I might leave that energy engine and run over here to help my business, and then run over there to help my relationship. But then your life gets wobbly because the structure isn't there as the center of the wheel.
This episode of Brains Are Us is brought to you by Chakra Energy Activator, a game-changing holosync collection that helps you bring all 7 chakras into balance and harmony just by listening to our powerful neuro-audio technology. Unlock your energy centers today by going to myholosync.com/brains16 to learn more.
You know, our audience are big meditators, obviously, because, you know, they love what we do, and we try every single day to honor them and put out the best possible products. And you both mentioned, though, Qigong, which I love. And so and I think a lot of people think that if they're of a certain age, you know, it's only meditation, right? They can't get into the Qigong or the other things. And, you know, believe it or not, everyone, these guys, you're in your 50s, but you're like glowing.
60s.
Stop it. What?
I'm 58. Someone else might be 60.
Okay. That's so funny. That's exact same difference of my husband and I. But you're both like exuding with vitality. So how does energy work play into your own anti-aging and longevity practices?
Oh man, it is the ultimate anti-aging. I mean, life force energy. If you look at some of the masters, so Qigong is a word we've been talking about here. It means energy work or energy play, and it is.
And most of our students are like 50 to 85 years old.
That's right.
I love that you said that. Great.
Jump into Qigong in their 50s because it's something that they can do over some of the other things they used to do, such as not all yoga, but certain yoga can be really challenging for some people. Even just getting on the floor can be challenging for some of our audience. So all Qigong can be done standing. It can also be done sitting, and some can be done lying down. Qigong is the grandfather of what we see people doing in the park often, called Tai Chi. Mm-hmm. Tai Chi is a martial art application of Qigong. So just for anyone in the audience that doesn't know, it's thousands of years old. Like some say 4,000 to 6,000 years old. It came from natural scientists and shamans and men and women who spend a lot of time in nature watching the way of the Tao, they would call it, the flow of water, the movement of animals, the cycles in nature. They call the celestial bodies, the sun, the moon, the stars, the sky, the air, like everything's giving off energy. And so a human being, they say in Qigong, coexists between heaven and earth. And so that also represents what they would say is yin and yang. Yin is the feminine, the earth, and yang is the heaven, the father. And when your body is in balance and it has a healthy flow of yin and yang energy flowing through it, you will thrive. They would say an analogy is the father drops down the seeds, and then the soil, the fertile soil, can receive those seeds and they can grow and thrive when things are in balance. So within our own body, we will grow and we will thrive when our energy's in balance. Mm-hmm. So that is our whole life. That's why our framework is about balance. We call it, again, body, mind aligned. So if my mind goes out of whack, my body's going to certainly go out of whack. Yeah. If my body is hurting, it's going to affect my mood and my mind. So the Qigong brings things back online and back in harmony. Mm-hmm. And it's through the body to heal the mind. And here's an interesting thinking for a lot of us. We, in personal development for the longest time, thought, I've got to change my mind to change my life. And we point to our head and we say the mind is here. Well, the brain is a beautiful software, as we know, but the mind also lives in the body, right? Because every thought has a corresponding effect in the tissue. Candace Pert's work, for example, beautiful work about molecules of emotion. The chemistry proves that little neural peptides release, attach on cell receptors, and then now we are programmed through thought. Thinking becomes feeling. Yes. So what we know is that if through your body you can heal your mind, clear the issues from the tissues, you can also fix the mind here too. Mm-hmm. And now you are embodied and it sticks. So we have found that people who want to change their lives, if they do it through the body, they're going to get really good lasting results mentally as well.
Yeah. That's wonderful. It's so important for everyone listening today. And I know many of our listeners are caregivers. What advice do you have for someone who's supporting a loved one through illness or really any kind of struggle?
Mm-hmm. Well, I had my years with Tristan, but currently we share a home with my parents who are 85 and 87. And my dad has pretty severe dementia. He was a NASA genius, PhD in artificial intelligence and applied math. He still knows, who we are. He just has this extreme short-term memory and great difficulty walking and keeping balance. Needs help. Someone needs to be in the room all the time. Diabetic. So we are living in a caretaker's type of situation even now. And I can see that my mother, who she has a pacemaker and has had heart surgery and she's 80% deaf, is his main caretaker. So there's a lot of caretaking going on around here. So I would say the number one thing is you must put yourself first. If you really care about the other person, the greatest gift that you can give them, first of all, as the person that needs caretaking, no one wants to feel like a burden.
Right.
No one wants to feel like my caretaker is missing out on life, not joyful, resenting taking care of me. So the gift that you can give them so that you have the energy is so obvious. You need time away and you need to move your body and you need time to clear your mind, because the thoughts that we think, we are our own psychic.
Yeah.
Whatever fears I have that are going to happen, miraculously they do. How is that? Right? We're creating the future. And so for the caretaker to stay in that kind of hopeful place of possibility that there is still good, so that they can put that vibration towards the person you're caring towards, and it can be contagious, will even affect their healing.
Yeah.
So I just think, in short, you must put yourself first if you care about that other person.
And that's
You are so right. And I have preached that for years. So thank you for giving our hundreds of thousands of listeners that permission to do it. Because look at I just want to talk to the listeners. Look at these two. Look at everything they're doing. They're not just the positivity, but what they actually do. Yet you are there caregiving every single day, because I know we get so many people who call into coaching that are the caregivers, and I don't have time to get my nails done. I don't have time to go for a walk. I don't have, but you do, right? You do. And you have to just plan that out and really get into some kind of routine, just like you've done. That is incredible.
Sonia Riccati gave me a little tip. If you know
Of
Sonia,
course.
her father is over 100 years old. And she told me about this little pedaler, that you just put it on the floor and someone
Yes.
can pedal, because it helps get brain
Circulation.
blood
Mhm.
circulation, so that my mom can take her 45 minutes and do our classes. We got a pedaler. My dad can sit there and he pedals while he watches her. So they both benefit. Sometimes you just have to get creative.
Right.
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 And when you think about it, how simple, right? That's so wonderful. And so let's talk a little bit more about, for someone who might be brand new to energy healing, who might be skeptical or just overwhelmed by the thought of it. Where do they begin?
Well, the very first place is just to take a breath. That is energy work, right? Just take a moment, take a breath. I remember we were at John Asraf's house years ago, and they had a little get together, and Deepak Chopra came to speak to the audience, and everybody was all very excited. And Deepak said, "Why doesn't everybody take a breath?" And we all laughed because we were all in personal development. We all took a breath and went, ha, ha, ha. And he said, "No, take another one. Really take a breath." And so it's always stuck with me. It's not so cliche. Yeah, chill out, take a breath, man. No, really take a breath.
Yeah.
Really pull it down into your belly. Really take a moment and just be. That's energy work. That starts the alignment process immediately, because with that breath, we are calming the nervous system. We are eliciting what's known as the parasympathetic nervous system. Here's an amazing technique, super simple. Grab a pillow, just like a little kid takes their teddy bear and they hug it. Put that pillow right in your arms and hold it against your tummy. And your tummy right here, well, your diaphragm drops down. It's a long sheet of muscle, and it sort of comes up like this, like an umbrella, like a dome, and then it drops down when you breathe in. So the muscle flattens and pushes down. What's interesting is the tissue, the tummy will go out when you breathe. So people think you're not really breathing in your belly. You're still breathing in your lungs, but your diaphragm drops down and it pushes out. Well, you'll feel that because of the pillow. But here's the secret sauce. From your brain, through your organs, especially your diaphragm, is the longest cranial nerve in the body, the vagus nerve.
Yep.
Right? And so it runs right through that diaphragm. So when you're holding the pillow and you just take that soothing breath and you let it out either pursed lips or through your nose, and you just do that a few times, you're toning and calming that nerve, almost like stroking it. And it's sending this beautiful feedback to the brain. And the brain says, oh, rest, digest, ease, and flow. You immediately start healing the body. So that's how I would start.
That is incredible. And you said, kind of like stroking it. And it's so funny. We just talked about in a meeting, the study that we read about these two groups of rabbits that were getting both fed very, very horrible diets. But the one group, before they ate, they just pet them and stroked them for minutes before they ate, so that you could see at the end of the study that rabbits that were stroked went into this without the stress, and they went on to live so much longer than the poor rabbits that were not pet. And but it all makes sense. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. That's the baby. She says, pet me.
Pet me.
I know that you guys have helped thousands and thousands of people. So is there one transformation story that sticks with you that you could share with us?
That's such a great question. And I always get stumped because I want to honor all of the people who write in and tell us, as you know, you're changing their lives, from people getting their hearing back, from a finger that was cut off that they couldn't feel after it was resewn, but now the sensations come back, or someone who couldn't go outside anymore to rake the leaves, which is their favorite thing to do, is now outside for 2 hours raking leaves, or they haven't been able to cook for the family in years and they just made, a beautiful full family meal. One of the most amazing stories that happened was a young man who came into our martial arts school who'd been recently diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And the diagnosis, as you probably have heard, sometimes can be worse than the disease, right? Because then your brain takes that and attacks you, known as the nocebo effect. And so his brain and his body was shutting down. The myelin sheaths in this disease start to compromise the signals from the brain to the body.
Right.
He was losing his balance. He was losing his sight and his hearing on one side. And he came into and he was on a cane, that's true. He came in with his girlfriend. Now, I'd recently had a full healing of my back pain after that 5 long years with energy healing and working with the tissue in the body known as fascia. We can talk about that later if you want. But anyway, I had a healing. This man walks in, young man. He was probably in his mid-20s.
Wow.
He says, sir, I'd like to join your martial arts school. I really want to become a black belt. And then he told me about his condition. So I heard all the stories go off in my own head. How is this going to happen? How is this guy really? He's got MS, right? And I had to stop it right there in my own. So this is for all of us who coach, who we help heal, who we help facilitate. This is where holding space and holding vision starts. I said, well, if this guy walks in and that's his dream, who am I to stand between that? And I also know the power of healing. And I said, you got it. You enroll. You got to do everything that I say. Are you all in?
He tells me that too. You got to do everything I say.
It doesn't work. She doesn't. Healing, apparently. And he said, yes, I'm willing to be a student. So we need to be a student of our life, a student of what we want to learn and master. And he was a student. And I gave him meditations, I gave him affirmations, I gave him visualizations, and I gave him Qigong practice. And he learned fighting martial arts. 5 years after he walked into that dojo, he absolutely crushed his black belt exam, which means he did really well. I called the news stations to come in and do a story about it. And he is one of the best martial art fighters I've ever helped create.
No cane. No.
Completely overcame his. So how does that happen?
Yeah.
You got to hold the vibration, and you need good mentoring.
That is so incredible. That just blows me away. And it's so wonderful. It's so wonderful for our listeners to hear this, because I'm sure a lot of people listening are a little resistant, right? So what are some of the common or emotional mental blocks that come up when people start this kind of work, and how do you help them move through it?
You want to take that?
I would say for our audience, the common blocks are, I'm too old.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way I am. So that means they're too entangled in
identity.
In an identity and they had a thought that became a belief, and now that belief is part of their identity, and I don't have time.
Right.
Those are probably the main three. But it's just the way I am, that's a really tough one,
Right.
because they can just, put their stake in the ground and claim that. So the unwinding of that, for me, I would say, if Tristan had chosen me for his number one transformation story, it would be because I really feel like I have reincarnated at least 3 times in this life. I am born again and born again into a new, more expanded version of myself, a different identity. Now, that doesn't mean that this identity can physically do necessarily what one of the others did, but I'm happier with everything that I do, and I know how to enter into a vibration of possibility. So that's a big part of someone's first experience with us, is we ask them at the martial arts school, we would say, take your shoes off and leave them at the door. So you come in without your story
and your ego.
and your ego. So we say, can you leave your to-do list and your to-don't list and all your idea and all your story at the door? And maybe if we can just come in here with the tiniest bit of possibility, I'm open to possibility. And if we can help them see all the other people who have been open to possibility, and that transformed into probability. And then it starts moving into more hope and faith. And I always say faith isn't faith unless it's 100%. If it's 99.9, it's like really good hope. And into faith. So I would say that's the biggest struggle that most people have, is realizing that they can make different choices and they can think different thoughts. And when you feel better, I believe we think better. And when we think better, we feel better and we take different actions.
Yes, that's perfect. That is wonderful. I know you've both lived through some intense suffering. So looking back, what's the biggest gift that your pain gave you?
Oh my gosh, being here with you. What a thing.
I love it. Okay, we're done. No, you go.
Being here, being with all the people who are listening, it gave life a new purpose, a deeper meaning. Life was already pretty good, but there was something more that was meant to happen. But you don't know that when you're going through it, right?
Right.
And we kind of opened it with that. Would you have imagined that your life would be? No way. That identity that I was had no idea about this new life, this identity. And so where we are now and what has shifted is now perceived as a gift. We turned a bummer into a blessing, into a business.
Yeah.
And now we're helping thousands and thousands of people around the world to come home to themselves. And in that journey, their bodies follow. It's in that order.
Yeah.
I don't lead that way. And we're all pretty good at marketing around here. So we know where we need to meet people. We meet them where they are. Yeah. They're struggling with physical pain. That's where we'll meet you. But that pain is a teacher. That fear, that anxiety is a teacher. And here's how I know. Because I've learned in this life that there is a way to connect to a great energy, love, life force, whatever you want to call it. And when you are connected to that, you feel good, you think good, you're good. And pain just tells you how close you are to being in alignment or how far out of alignment you are. It's your body's way of saying, hey, I need you to pay attention. Hey, listen, let's bring it on back home. Oh, that anxiety, that's an indicator that we are just a little too far off center. And so if we can convert it in our mind, if we can reframe it as, this is a teacher, what is it trying to teach me?
Right.
And listen, take a moment and listen, breathe, and then listen, and then respond.
Yeah. I think for me, I have 2 drivers. I think we all do. So if I'm running towards something that I really want, I'm probably going to run faster than if I'm just running towards something that's like, well, yeah, okay, fine. Also, if there's a tiger chasing me, I'm more likely to run faster than if there's nothing chasing me. And sometimes in those, when there's a lot of physical pain or just a lot of suffering or frustration, or I'm so sick of this, that can be like the tiger chasing you.
Yeah. Gets your
because
attention.
there's a reason. And that freedom up ahead, the freedom to move, the freedom to find peace, you really want it. So you're being driven towards and away at the same time. So I feel like you can make big changes and massive changes from those places of pain. It's almost like the way an archer, when he is pulling back on the bow to shoot the arrow, it's going to go much farther when you have that energy behind it.
Right. And that kind of just goes into, there's so many people that are burned out in the world. And what do you say to the person who is just exhausted? They're numb, but they also feel like they've tried everything.
I can speak from personal experience. I almost ended my life, MaryEllen. I got to the point
I didn't know.
crawling on the floor, on the bathroom floor. I couldn't get on the toilet to go to potty. And this has been going on. This is on like year 3. So I'm losing my dojo, my school. My students are quitting because I can't really teach anymore. I'm going into debt and spent all my savings on many alternative things before even having the actual back surgery. And then losing my zest for life, just being so depressed and so angry all the time and just not having any hope. So I'm speaking to the lowest level of feeling completely void of any juice left. And it was the night that I remember laying on the floor that I had to ask for help in a new way. I'd always been the guy who could fix it. I was always the strong person that could handle it. And I had been pushing and pushing and pushing to fix this problem. And I needed to, I'll say surrender was what I had to ask. And I asked the divine because I didn't know where else to go at that point. I'd been tapping out Sabrina's love and support. I mean, we were together, but things were going a bit crazy between us too. And I heard my karate teacher's voice while I was on the ground. He used to work us out to the point of exhaustion back when I grew up in Malibu and I got my black belt as a younger man. And he'd lay us on our back at the end of class. We'd lay down, he'd dim the lights, and he'd walk around the room and he'd say, and this is for all of us, there's a powerful and beautiful energy inside of you. You just need to know how to tap into it. I mean, he said that for years. And he didn't teach me energy arts. He just planted that seed. And that same thing, I'm laying on the floor in my bathroom and I hear those words. There's a powerful and beautiful energy inside you. You just need to know how to tap into it. So to speaking to someone who has no energy left and they're totally burned out, we have to invite energy to come from somewhere else. And so I put it into the field, into the universe, to God, however you want to look at that. And I said, please help me. If I can be healed, and here's the key piece. If I could be healed, I will do everything in my life to help others get out of pain, physical and emotional. And that was the moment that it wasn't all about me, my pain, my victimhood. I'm going to use this and do something good with this. It was like a collaboration moment.
Yeah.
And within 2 weeks, I found myself in my Jeep pulling up to like a health food store where they put the big poster board outside and all the new age stuff and you can peel off the little phone numbers. There was a guy visiting from China teaching Qigong workshop. And I always made fun of that stuff. I thought it was super woo-woo, way out there, but you got to be an open-minded skeptic sometimes. And I was at the bottom of the ladder. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a go. And I took the whole thing on the ground, but I felt the energy between my hands. And I ran it up the flagpole and I did private lessons with him. And all these years later, here we are paying it forward because that deal with the divine where I said, I need help. And there is an energy available to us even when we don't think we've got anything left. Somehow the universe is so magical. It probably brought you to this podcast today because you needed to hear that. And there are tools, there are resources, there are angels. You're looking at them.
Yeah.
They're here to help us. We just have to ask.
That's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I'm sure that everybody just got their money's worth with that. Oh my gosh. So tell me, looking ahead, what's next for you, for the Satori Method? Any projects or dreams you're excited that you could share with us?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Tell us.
I absolutely love our like ongoing live classes because, you know, used to you could watch Like I watched Cher's step aerobics or Jane Fonda's step aerobics VCR tape 150 times. And so you space out.
Yeah.
You're not. So I love that our classes are live, and it isn't anymore. It's a little bit, but it's not that much more work to put thousands of more people that get, because they're all virtual, that
Right.
more people can tune in. And I love that they can do it from their home because you don't have to get dressed up. You can do it naked. You can do it whenever you want to do it. You can cut out early and it not be rude. And I feel like people are getting to take care of their body in the time it used to take them to get ready and get in their car to go somewhere and take care of their body.
Yes.
And then to help people save on all the maybe medical things that they're not going to need. We have a lot of people that tell us that. And we started certifying people so that they can teach Qigong in their hometowns all over the world. And helping them understand how to do that and how to set up the classes. So we would like to have more certified instructors.
Yeah.
What would you like?
I only have one thing to add to that. I would, now that we're heading into our 60s and we've been doing this for a minute, I'd like to travel and meet people around the world.
Nice.
I'd like to travel to beautiful places and have retreats and teach and share this method with more. I'd love to leave this world a better place because we made a real difference and we broke bread with beautiful people. And I'm so grateful that we get to be living this dream with you, the work that you guys do. I love that we get to be partners and we're helping so many people. It just feels so good, doesn't it?
It does. It does. And the other thing that when Sabrina was talking that I wanted to say was, and when you do your classes, your live classes, Sabrina, people get to know you, right? It's so different than the tapes in the old days where it's the exact same thing. It's the exact same expression. It's, it's the exact same whatever. But I really feel because you guys are so authentic and honest and that you honor, other people that they can feel that, you don't feel that in those tapes. And so I love that and so I'm so happy, which is why before we close, I know you have something special for our listeners, for all of the Brains Are Us listeners today. Tell us what it is and how they can access it.
All right. Take it away.
Well, we would like to give everyone a Qigong for Beginners program because there's so many people that are like, I don't even know what Qigong is, right?
Right.
So it's like the 9 essentials, and it really walks you through all the basic, and there's even a routine that you can use, but it lets you experience, is this for me? It lets you understand, oh my gosh, I can do this.
Yes.
And even with these 9 essentials, I'm feeling better. So I think it's a really good first step. Also, if you've been doing Qigong with a different teacher, this might be good to see, are there elements that I'm missing out that I could add to that?
Oh, I'm so happy because I, mentioned that I love Qigong. I have a practice. I do it. I've done your Qigong and I love it. And we don't, at Centerpoint, that's not something that we have to offer folks. So I'm so happy because there's no reason for anyone on this call not to go there and get it. So what is a URL that they could go to?
You could go to our main website, Satori, Satori, next word method, method.com / and take the letter of Qigong for Beginners, QFB. Put QFB and you can pop in an email and we'll ship it right to you digitally. You don't even have to wait. We just ship it digitally.
I love that digital shipping. That is awesome because you guys can do this today. You can start today. That's so awesome. I can't thank you enough for sharing your time, your love, your light. It's been incredible to listen to your journey. I know that our listeners today have gotten so much out of this. So thank you so very much.
We're so grateful to have the invitation. We're so grateful to everyone who's spent the time listening. This is a beautiful art. May it bless you. May it heal you. May it bring you incredible insights and clarity. Thank you for allowing us to share it with your audience. We appreciate you.
Thanks for listening to Brains Are Us, brought to you by Centerpoint Research Institute. Want to try out our proprietary HoloSync brain-enhancing technology that's been changing lives for 35 years? Just visit myholosync.com /stream for a free 15-minute HoloSync session and feel the difference for yourself today. Until next time, be kind to your mind.